So this is about the circular flow and business cycle and what you need to know for the IBSL. The original model we drew was of a closed system, so nothing's leaving, there's no imports or exports, and the expenditures of the individuals, of the households, become income for some other individual. So when you spend $100 on an iPod, some individual gets, or the sum of all of the individuals gets that $100, and so that loop just keeps going. $1 million in expenditures becomes $1 million in income. And remember that WIRP, wages, interest, rent, profit. Somebody or something gets that expenditure as income. So it's a closed loop. Now things change when we use an open economy. So we still have the idea of households and firms, factors of production flowing through, goods and services flowing through, money flowing, okay? But there are some leakages and injections when we open it up and we actually take a better look at things. So the leakages exist in savings. So if you think about money you receive as income, you might save some. Whereas the other model says, no, you spend it on something. Your income becomes expenditures and your expenditures become income. But with the open economy we have, you can save some of it. So that leaves the system, it leaves the circular flow, because now that's no longer in the circular flow system. You've put it in the bank, it's not revolving through the economy. Taxation the same way gets removed from the circular flow because government is not part of the system the way that we've drawn it so far. And then money is imports. When you buy a good from another country, your money goes to that other country, so that leaves the circular flow of America. Injections then become investment spending or government spending that injects back into the system. Okay, so the money left is taxation and comes back as government spending. There might be foreign investment that comes in, so foreigners looking to invest in American companies then puts money into the flow. And then exports. As foreigners buy our goods, they put money into our circular flow. So it's a little better look in an open economy of how money is actually flowing through, because we have some money leak out and some money being injected into our system. I would at least somehow draw this model. You don't necessarily have to draw the next two models, but just kind of understand how that works and why they might decide to draw the government in or draw the foreigners in a little different way. But definitely understand the idea of leakages and injections, not necessarily how to draw each one of the four models. Here's another view of the circular flow model with government placed into the model and how it interacts with all the different markets, because the government buys resources. Okay, so they spend money, they get resources, they buy factors of production. They have warplanes, they have workers. They also put goods and services into the market, so we think about education. They spend money on that. Or actually what they're doing is they're buying some goods and services, so they buy planes, they buy computers. They tax households and they tax businesses. And so that's another way of looking at the circular flow. Here's yet another view, kind of, putting this all together. We have the Italian flows, the government placed in there, and then also other nations and how they interject into the product market. So they put imports, they put exports, they take exports out to other nations, they import goods into Italy. And so you can see that's another view on the circular flow. So business cycles help to explain how economies move in cycles of good and bad economic times. And just kind of that an economy as large as ours, we produce about $17 trillion worth of goods and services every single year. We have 350 million people, that it's inevitable that an economy that large with that many moving pieces is going to flow through recessions and expansions. Okay, it's just too large, there's too many moving pieces, something could go wrong for a short period of time, but then we'll expand back out of it, we'll recover out. So here's a look at a typical business cycle. So you see it kind of moves in waves. We have the trough, which is the bottom part. We expand up to a peak. We recess or contract down back to the trough, and it just keeps going like that over time. But if we put a trend line in, we'll notice that the economy is going to grow about the same. The American trend line is around 3% GDP growth per year if we were to put that trend line in. But if we zoom in, we're going to notice all of these peaks and valleys. So the ideal expansion is that all economic numbers return to normal. So inflation's around 1 to 3%, unemployment's at 5%, GDP growth around 3 to 5%. A recession is defined as 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. So the characteristics would be negative GDP, low inflation, so either below 1% or even lower than that, or deflation, and usually high unemployment, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 higher percentages. Another bad part that could occur in an economy or in a business cycle is the peak. So if the economy grows too quickly, inflation might be a result as the circular flow money wheel spins faster. So we're going to have low unemployment as we're expanding. We're hitting that top part. We're going to have high inflation, above 4%. And in the 1970s, it was way higher than that. It was in the 10s. GDP growth could really be doing anything. It could be around zero as we flatten out and are about to hit a recession. Or it could be really high, and that's the cause of the inflation. It could be high, like 7% GDP growth. So if we grow too quickly, usually inflation is going to follow. So here's the economic data as we zoom out from the 1940s, just after World War II, until just about today in 2015. And you notice kind of, the upward slope. Things look good. Okay, we can see a little bit of dips and falls, but for the most part, we notice the trend is we're doing well. Except for you can see the big recession of 08-09. You can really see how much of a dip that was compared to the other dips. And just so you know, all of these gray bars, those are years or quarters of recessions. So you can see those recessions over the years. But as you can see, after every recession is a period of recovery. And if we zoom in around your lifetimes, about 94 to today, you notice a little bit more of those peaks and valleys. We go up, we go down a little bit. We go up, we go down. We go up. And so there's the business cycle, but the trend line, is relatively, a flat sloping line, an upward sloping line.